Good afternoon and welcome back to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on a guy's 2015 Ram 1500 4x4 and all that, and we are doing a couple things for him. He bought his own quick struts he wants replaced, and that's pretty much the goal of what I'm doing today and pretty much what I'm filming. That said, he's also got a lot of engine noise, problems starting, washer fluid pump don't work, and a myriad of other things I'm going to look at. But the point of today's video is the quick struts. I can't video everything he wants me to do because he wants his truck back sometime this year, and yeah, videoing takes a while. So, quick struts is the video today. Maybe I'll add in some more, maybe I'll do another video or two depending on how the day's going so far. I just did the passenger side. We pulled this guy out. He does have a spacer lift, so that does change things a little bit for this project from what you might have. It just makes it a little bit harder to get the strut out. That's all it does. Here's the new one that's going on the driver's side. That's the one that came off the passenger side. This project difficulty level out of a 10, I don't know. It's hard for me to say nowadays because I do so much and it's hard to remember what it was like and doing it in a driveway with a floor jack. But I'd say it's probably in the 3 or 4 realm on the easier side. There is some stuff you got to take off. We got to take the upper ball joint off of the knuckle. We got to take the tie rod off of the knuckle. Maybe the sway bar end link. You might not need to do that if you don't have the spacer lift that this guy does. But overall, it's not hard. It's just a matter of some nuts and bolts and some effort. So we're gonna go ahead and get this in the air. You can do it on a floor jack. I have the lift. I'm going to use the lift. Just because I use the lift doesn't mean you have to use a lift, just like impacts. Just because I use impacts doesn't mean you have to use them. I did all these jobs and these types of jobs with hand tools before I bought tools. So that's all there is to it. Anyway, remember, follow me at your own risk. I am not certified in any way to do any of this, including teaching you guys. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just a guy that's done a crap load of vehicle repairs in my time with really good success. But that doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. So, we're gonna do it. Let's go. Don't mind my nightcap. It is hot in here and I am sweating it out. So, in order to keep that out of my eyeballs, I'm wearing my nightcap. It's actually a swimming cap. I use when we go to the pool because, you know, bald head, sunburn, all that stuff. But it works really good at collecting the sweat too. So, it's become a sweat cap. Don't mind it. Get over it. Alright, so this guy, we have a lug nut adapter. We got our 22 mil socket and an impact to pull this tire off. Nothing exciting. Okay, so because of the spacer lift, I'm assuming because of the spacer lift, on the passenger side, I had to remove the brake caliper. I think there might have been enough room without doing it, but we did it anyway, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do it on this side. It's not hard. It's actually super easy. But you're gonna wanna disconnect that. You're gonna wanna come up here on the control arm and pop this plastic tab off here. And that's all you need that thing for. You can put that tool back. And that just gives this room, and it gives the brake caliper a little bit of room here. As far as hanging the brake caliper, we're gonna put our hanger here. I can link that down below for you guys too if you'd like. We're gonna kinda hang the caliper here. The other side, it worked good just like this around the guide pin. Just be gentle, please be gentle. So we're gonna pull the caliper off. I'm gonna hang this by the guide pin, probably in this slot right here. There's two 19mm bolts in the back here. Presuming you can see, you got one right here and one right there. We're gonna pull those off. Some people like to separate the pads to make this easy to get on and off. I just pull it off. Yeah, you gotta play with the rotor a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. It's pretty easy actually, so we're gonna do that. So we're gonna get this first one up here, right there. Oh, Jesus. There we go. Break that one loose, then I'm gonna break the bottom one loose. And then we'll pull it off. There she goes. I just pulled the bottom bolt out. Here comes the upper bolt. Notice it's pretty hung on to the rotor. It's okay. Drop that one. I'm tired of this guy calling me. I've given him the right number about 9 times. He still calls me. So we're just gonna let that ring. It's my day off anyway. Have you guys noticed every single video I film, my phone rings? It's almost always work related. And anytime I'm filming a video, it means I'm not at work. Oh, so there's that. So we're just hanging it down there, like I said, on the guide pin. Just don't rip your boot. Now we're free from here. And we can pull this rotor off. All right, so at this point, on the other side, I also removed the CV axle nut. We might go ahead and do that real quick. That's a 35, can you see? Sort of. That's a 35 millimeter axle nut right here. So we're just gonna go in here. Oh, this you would wanna do while the tire's in the ground if you could, if you have access to it, but you usually have to pull the tire off because there's a cap here. So in that case, you put a big long pry bar, piece of steel, something to catch on the ground while you're trying to loosen this. So go this way, and that'll keep this from rotating while you try to pull it off. Or you can use an impact. We're not ready to do anything with that yet, but it's gonna come in handy in a little bit. So now I need a 19 millimeter. We're gonna pull this upper ball joint off and the tie rod off. We'll start with the upper ball joint. All right, so we're gonna slide in here. Oh, how nice. That one came off real nice, I like it. If you don't do this very often, you probably want to leave that nut on so that if this decides to give loose, you can catch it with the nut. I do this a lot. I've kind of got a pattern down that works for me. All right, so over here we got your outer tie rod in. We're gonna pull that off as well. The passenger side, the taper was a little loose, or the ball joint's a little worn, so the stud. So I had to hold the bottom of this with a 10 mil while I did this with a wrench. That was painstaking. Let's hope we don't have to do that on this side. So far, so good. We'll pull that off. Okay, so now keep in mind, I already took my nut off of both this and the upper ball joint, so be watchful in case it falls on you. Just gonna kind of, well, just want to make sure it wasn't loose already. There's that one. Now we're gonna do the upper ball joint, same thing, couple whacker woos. There we go. So now the upper ball joint, upper tie rod is free. This one's got a root boot too. Rip boot. A ripped boot. A ripped boot. Passenger side was the exact same way. So then the lower tie rod, or the outer tie rod, we're gonna pull off. We're gonna hang that here, but before we get too excited, I wanna take, we can't see that either. We'll hang it up there when we're ready, but we'll take this, I think it's a 14 mil. We'll take that off here in a minute. But at this point, our CV axle should be free. We don't necessarily need to pull it out as of now. We're just getting it ready so that we can manipulate things. Let me grab a socket for this guy. You can use an impact, you can use a wrench, doesn't matter. As long as it comes out. There it should be. Now we got a wrench, our spacer, and our bushing, which can probably stay because if we need to push down on it, we can. The other side, this didn't have to come off. I just needed a little bit extra flex. So in fact, we could probably put this a couple threads back on here. Okay, so at this point, we are ready to attack the strut. I'm gonna start probably with the, well, let's hang that up like I told you guys. Let's start with this guy right here, this lower bolt. So this one, I believe it's a 24 millimeter nut and a 21 millimeter bolt. You might find it easiest to go ahead and extract the nut before the bolt. So we get our 24 here. Wait, oh, mud falling. And I want to put my 21 millimeter wrench on the inside until that nut comes off here. So now that the nut's out, you might get lucky and be able to just back this bolt out. I don't usually get lucky, but sometimes. Yep, not happening, but it's kind of loose. The other side was pretty tight. I had to air hammer it out. Alrighty. So now we're gonna go to our top hat bolts, which for me, I believe is a 14 mil. I'm just gonna push this liner up. Now we're gonna crack. Oh gosh. Oh, oh yeah. The grunt was me, the squeak was the truck, I promise. Once we break them loose, we'll switch to the other wrench because it's a pain. We're gonna slide in here to this back one. There's two in the back here, and then there's this one up front. If you can't see in the video, you'll just have to trust me. Oh! Yeah, these are seized in there a little bit. I think the torque spec on these is like 40 foot-pounds. That's a lot more than 40 right there. Right there. Ah! Alright, now that I got these loose, I'm going to switch to my ratchet wrench, which does a lot easier. That one's out. We have one that wants to play stubborn. So we're just going to work it back and forth and try and break all the crud off of it. We'll go tight, and we'll loosen, then we'll tighten, then we'll loosen. I'm trying to just work her out here. And this is staying because it's the lift that sticks above, so we don't want to break it. We gotta be careful here. I got like 5 more threads to clear. Like I said, we don't want to lose the. Ooh, she got hot too. I was probably pushing it. All right, she's out. Okay, at this point, everything is free except for this lower bolt. So now we get to play the game of, can we get it out? Answer's usually no. So option. You guys hear that? Sound like somebody shot a pellet gun at my door. Anyway, we're gonna push this out probably with the air hammer just to make it easy. You could also tap it. Well, I guess you don't have to use the air hammer, you can tap it too. Just like so. Now you can get back here and all you want to do is get the threads to bite into that and it should unscrew itself. Or not. So the next thing I do is I take a wrench and I stick it behind the head of the bolt and I can pull on it while I pull with the impact, unscrew the impact. That usually works. There we go. So in case you guys couldn't see that, what I mean is once you hammer these threads through and you got some shoulder showing, you can stick this up in there and pull while you use your drill to pull the bolt out. And that works pretty good. Okay, so now all we gotta do, and it's gonna be harder than it sounds, is we gotta put pressure down on this lower control arm to get it go down. We want the strut to stay up. It's gonna be the easiest way because ultimately we're going for this ear here. This ear has to clear the control arm in order for that to pop out. I think on the other side, I think I ended up taking out the CV axle. So let's go ahead and pop that out. Wow, this one's got a lot less play. The other side, I was able to like pry down and she would bounce. Oh, there she goes, I think. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh. Just like so. Now, if it didn't fall on the floor already, you can just grab it and pull it out controllably. Alright, so this is that spacer lift we were talking about. This has to come off and go on the new strut. So we're just going to rip this off, which would be, I think, right? Yep, a 15 millimeter for me. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Looks like somebody put some blue Loctite on this one, but the other side did not have that. So hopefully we don't need it, because I didn't do it on the other side. Oh! Now we can grab our new strut. I typically like to rip these wrappers off, or at least all the extras. Just because, yeah, anyway. And this guy can, holy snap, look at that. You guys see that? It's all built up dirt. I'm gonna grab a wire brush and brush this out. Once you got a nice flat surface, we're going to take these nuts off, of course. Rip some more of this wrapper off here. Get that one on. Get that one on. Alright, now the fun part is getting this to torque. But you don't, it should come from the factory setup with this in line with the long stud. So these ones are like 3 1/4 inches apart, this one's like 3 1/4, 3 1/2 apart. So this one's the long one. You want this to line up over here so that your nut can pass through in this. So when we torque these down, you can torque them with the impact, but you don't know that they're even, so you want to use a torque wrench without spinning the strut. It's rather difficult, but we're gonna try it. Like I said, I don't know what's right and wrong, but we're going with 40 foot-pounds. We're gonna try to keep it from spinning. Okay, there's one. Pull it over. There's two. Probably do something like this as well, but you risk damaging your studs. Right there, 3. Actually, that was easier. All right, this is ready to go back in. If you did not have a spacer lift, none of that had to happen. Okay, so the stud that is a different distance from the other two, the farthest apart, goes out towards you. Easiest way this typically is to go ahead and stab these studs up top, get one nut on it loosely, and then worry about the bottom and go back to the top again. So we're going to, okay, right there. So then just grab your easiest stud to get to and get a nut on it. Main goal is just to keep it from falling back down. So now we can let it go and not have to worry about it, you see? So I'm gonna point you guys down a little bit. Hopefully you can see the bottom. So this I'm gonna put right there. And I wanna grab my bar, stick it through, and I wanna try and pick it up and slide this in. Pretty much just like we took it out, only slightly different. There we go, just like so. Now I'm gonna grab some anti-seize and I'm gonna put my other 2 nuts up here and then take this one off and put anti-seize and put that nut on. Mainly because these things are pretty rough. I wanna go ahead and snug these, not torque them, just snug them. All right, now it's the hard part, getting the bottom bolt in. Before we do that, we wanna go ahead and get this axle back in place. So, we have to do some more twisting and turning to get this free. Okay, here we go. We're gonna drop in. You can do it. There it goes. So now that that's in place, we can go ahead and put this bolt in. So this bolt in is a little bit of a problem, only because it doesn't want to line up perfectly. If you can at least get your bolt started and then do the same prying action. So we're gonna do this. The key is to pry it straight up, which is hard. Anytime you're prying, things want to go a different way than you want them to go. Case in point, what I just did there. This will be a lot easier without the spacer lift too, by the way. That kind of messes things up for you. I'm not saying don't do a spacer lift, I'm just saying if you have one, be prepared to fight for the day. If you manage to get your bolt started, you can oftentimes get her through. That's the hard part. We're gonna tighten the nut and hold the bolt. So we're gonna get our 21 millimeter down here to hold the bolt and our impact over here. Hello. We're just gonna go until these arms squeeze in, then we're gonna stop and we're gonna torque it. All right, so for this bolt here, I'm going to 125 foot-pounds of torque. Right there. All right, at this point we just start reassembling crap however you please. I'm gonna do tie rod first because that'll make it easier to get the upper control arm in. I'm not really torquing this in, I'm just getting it up there. Same thing with the upper ball joint. Once that's in, she's gonna be a joy. You pretty much have to lay on it and get a couple threads through. Yes, it's harder than it looks. And I know it looks hard, so. I want to get at least a couple threads on before you let it go. Okay, so that puts in place. Now we can go ahead and tighten and torque your upper ball joint, your tie rod, and your sway bar link. All right, so upper ball joint is 40 foot-pounds. Tie rod outer is 45 foot-pounds. And I believe, weirdly enough, this sway bar end link is 65 foot-pounds. Why so tight? I don't know, unless it's just because of the bushings. But I want to torque in all those down. Right there, right? I think. Yep. That's 40. So outer tie rod, we're going 45. Right there. And then again, we got 40 foot-pounds for these guys up top. If you can get your torque wrench in there. Right there. And the third one. Ugh. Right there. Yeah, the axle nut. All this was anti-seize when we got here. I like the anti-seize, I support that, but I'm gonna go ahead and anti-seize everything going in too. As my buddy Chase said, we have a preloaded 35mm axle nut. And we're gonna sink this guy in. I'll look up torque specs on that in a minute. So this axle nut goes to 185 foot-pounds. Now, because we are playing and everything here with pry bars, make sure that your dust shield is still straight. Once you put your rotor on, make sure it's not contacting, because that'll make ungodly annoying noises. So, but anyway, at this point, we are ready to put our caliper back on, which means we need our rotor. Okay, and then our caliper. That was just the bracket, don't worry about it. We don't want it to stay on the truck anyway. I've done that before. Alright, so you might have to push your pads back out with your fingers a little bit to make them line up. Start with the top, start with the bottom, doesn't matter. And then just kind of do your wiggle till it falls in place. And grab your bolts. Make sure you do not cross thread these. With the rotor free and everything, it's very easy to do. Get them straight, get them right, do it once. I'm going to get one most of the way threaded in, but they're still leaving an air gap. That way I can wiggle this thing around and get the bottom one set correctly. And then we're going to snug both of these and then we'll get the torque specs. Okay, I believe that the caliper mounting bracket is 130 foot-pounds. Right there for the upper one. I think my battery's about to die on you guys. Good thing we're almost done. Wonder if we can finish. Think we can get the tire on? Probably not. It's always right before I finish that it dies. I have to do an outro anyway. Okay. Alright, before the battery dies, we're gonna clip this guy back in here. We're gonna take this guy, we're gonna shove her back in the hole here. Which is a weird way of lining that up. Hiya! Alright, we are at a point where we can put our tire back on and be done with this. I just ripped his heat shield off of this exhaust manifold, and he's got multiple, looks like 4 broken bolts or broken studs on this exhaust manifold, which is the same as the passenger side. So I'm betting we end up doing exhaust manifolds at some point, which even though it pays good, I am not looking forward to that, but we'll see. He doesn't even know yet, so he might opt for somebody else to do it, might opt not to do it, might do it himself, might have me do it, don't know. Yeah, if I do it, I'm not excited, but that's why we get paid, right? Anyway, tire back on. Oh, I want to put the studs way over there. Where's your wallet? What the heck? What the heck in the heck? There's that. I believe these lug nuts go to 130 foot-pounds. Just snug the first two. We'll ring her home. 2, 3, 4, 5. Tires on. Just a second. Make sure you can't hear that dust shield scratching, because that'll annoy a guy bad. Alright guys, that's all there is to replacing the quick struts on your 2015, whatever your range, Dodge Ram 1500, whatever it is, 4x4. Pretty easy. Yeah, it's a little bit involved, but it's not hard work, guys. It's just stuff. Just remove stuff and put stuff back is all there is to it. The hardest part is just getting that strut pried out if you have a leveling kit, which this one does. If you don't, that's probably pretty easy to do as well. So guys, I will link parts and tools down below. If you see something I used and you want a link and I didn't, go ahead and remind me. Usually I film these and it's a few weeks after I film them before I edit them, so I can't remember everything I told you I would link in the video. Guys, remember, follow me at your own risk. Only do this if you feel comfortable messing up your car. I have yet to mess one up, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Amazon links down below. You click stuff, buy stuff, I make money. It's a great program. You get stuff, I make stuff. It's great. Plus PayPal link for donations, as well as a Zelle link. Guys, if you keep watching, I'll keep posting. We've got over 300 videos on the channel, I believe. So there's plenty to peruse if you're trying to fall asleep at night. Guys, thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, and adios.